DNVR Broncos Podcast coming to you live from Studio C for me. Henry's in Montana. I don't know what studio that is. And today the C stands for Courtland Sutton. We're going to talk a little bit about Cortland. We're going to talk a little about Jerry, a little bit about the rest of the wide receivers. But first, Henry, did you see a bear yesterday?
Still haven't seen a bear. It's, I guess I've got 3-4 days left, so there's still a chance, but we've done most of the bear seeing activities, so I'm starting to get a little bit nervous.
Would you say spirits are low in terms of the bear seeing opportunities?
Yes. I have fed a deer carrots and apples. Same deer probably. They're kind of tough to tell apart, so maybe different, but yeah. So there's that.
That's good. I'm happy for you there. Any other animal encounters?
My neighbor Mike keeps walking Jill by, but that doesn't really count.
I just assume the picture we're painting on Montana for people who don't live there is like it's just there's just wildlife around every corner.
Yeah, there's just bears and cougars and all that sort of stuff.
I mean, when I came out to visit there, someone like very nonchalantly said like, "Oh yeah, and watch out for the bear over there on 3." I was like, "What do you mean the bear on 3?" They're like, "Yeah, he sometimes just walks across the fairway." Like,
what was that bear's name?
I don't remember.
They said that I can't remember which bear that was, but yeah,
I think your sister saw it too.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Right before we got there, yeah, she did.
Crazy. All right. So yesterday we talked about DraftKings numbers for Russell Wilson, and I love these totals because not to get in too much into the sports betting world, but in the end, the goal of the sports book is to have even money on both sides. But the original number they put out is, especially when it comes to these totals, is essentially a prediction for them. It's what their projections are saying it should be. And they think that if they put it there, then even money will come in. It should be even money or around even money. And I would say they probably actually juice the numbers up a little bit because I bet there's a lot more people betting on their players to go over than there are people going into their rival teams and betting unders.
Yeah, I think that's definitely part of it. So I guess maybe they're a little bit inflated.
So maybe slightly inflated, maybe just pure projections. And then they adjust based on the way the money's coming in. But I always find these interesting, and I think it's a good topic. And there's a reason why we're going to do it. Did it yesterday, do it today, and we might even do it tomorrow. Is because it's just so interesting to see from an outside perspective. Because when it comes to these receivers, I think most people expect multiple 1,000-yard receivers. Do you think that's fair to say?
Yeah, I think they probably do.
And what's interesting is a lot of times you look at teams and you say, okay, well, those are the two guys that could be 1,000-yard receivers.
Yeah.
I think there's any combination of 3 that could be 1,000-yard receivers. I think the number one most likely scenario is Cortland and Jerry.
Yep.
I think the next one would be Cortland and Tim.
It's just so hard to see Tim getting that far. Because as good as he's been, and he's been really good, it's 750, So that'd be kind of a big leap late in the career. But, there's Russell Wilson there, and sure there's more competition, but Russell Wilson might outweigh those things.
Right, but it's still the second most likely because the other one would be Jerry and Tim.
Yeah, or throw KJ in there too. I mean, that's a second-round draft pick who, I guess if he hadn't dropped that 80-yard touchdown the first game of the season, then he'd be on pace for a big year last year before he got hurt. But the drops are part of the story there.
Yeah, and I just think he's essentially until he proves himself otherwise is going to be a gimmick player in the NFL in terms of they're not going to be feeding him consistently. I think he's going to have some plays in there for him that they're going to try to target him down the field.
Yeah, that's what you want him for, is just fly up the sideline and hope they don't keep up. And now you have a quarterback who can take advantage. So I know I'm higher on KJ. It's just getting to 1,000. There's another game. It's just hard for me to see Tim taking that, getting over that mark.
You're not higher on KJ Hamler's prospects of getting 1,000 yards than Tim.
See, that's the thing. In terms of who's going to have more yards this season, you take Tim. But in terms of like players who could put up a really big number, I think a KJ breakout is probably more likely than a Tim Patrick breakout at this point.
Interesting. I think you're much lower on Tim than me or the average fan. I think he's absolutely capable of 1,000 yards. I never take for granted the fact that Russell Wilson brings him up first every single time he talks about his wide receivers. And in the end, like, he's going to have opportunities. And if Russ loves him and trusts him, he's going to have a lot of opportunities. And, again, what is it? 52 yards. I think you need 52 yards a game, or I guess it's even down now. You probably need about, let's see, 50 yards a game at 17. Okay, so yeah, you need in between 50 and 60 yards a game. And I think there's going to be plenty of opportunities for all of these guys to get 1,000 yards if they just make the plays that are out there for them. And obviously Russ only has one ball. But I think there are three legitimate combinations of wide receivers. Yeah.
On the DNVR Broncos podcast.
Only one football on the field at a time.
Okay, there we go.
I think those are the three options. There's three combinations that could have 1,000 yards. I think obviously Tim and Jerry is the least likely. But I do think there will be two 1,000-yard receivers for the Denver Broncos this year. It's just about picking which ones it is. So let's jump into what they're saying over at DraftKings. And since we've talked so much about yards right now, I will start there. But I found these numbers to be fascinating. Did you look at them this time, or are you coming in?
I didn't. I went through and got my own numbers again.
Okay. So let's start with Courtland Sutton receiving yards. What do you have him at?
So I want to start by saying this. These are a lot tougher to do. Like with Russell Wilson, it's really easy because you have 10 years of history. Just to be like, well, this is where he's going to fall. With all these guys, it's like you're taking a stance whenever you pick a number. I went big with Courtland Sutton. I had him with 85 catches, just under 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns.
Okay,
so that's real big.
Wait, say it again.
85 catches. Just
you already went to catches. I thought we were just doing yards.
Just under 1,200 yards.
Okay. What do you think the sports book has it at?
I would guess that it's around probably like 1049 and a half.
You're going to love this bet, Henry. Over under 900.5.
I just don't understand. I mean, I just like, why?
They are low on Courtland Sutton, and I find that to be absolutely fascinating because you expect him to be the number one receiver in a pass-happy offense with a Hall of Fame quarterback. And it just doesn't make sense to me that, and we'll get to this in a second, that he would be so low. And really, all of these numbers are really low. And it almost scares me.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, what do they know that we don't? That they've got Courtland Sutton having like a wide receiver 2 type season.
Yeah, that's I mean, you look at last year's stats, and he played in every single game, had 776 yards and 2 touchdowns. And if that's what you're basing things off of, then sure, I get it. But even then, like for a number one,
if he has that exact same season, just with the quarterback changing, he gets no better. He's getting over this number.
I would think so too. I mean, he had the knee injury and missed one season, but he's been healthy outside of that.
Yep.
Like that was the only injury that's notable. And then he also has an 1,100-yard season in there, where he was a Pro Bowl in his second season.
I think if Zach was here, he would probably bring up the fact that, like, if you go back and look at Courtland Sutton's game logs from last season, you will be mortified. Like, the numbers that he was putting up most games was just disgusting. Do you have them in front of you now?
Yeah.
I mean, point out some of these games. I know Zach would be saying this.
Yeah. I mean, so they're the two big ones. 2 times he hit 100, 159 against Jacksonville, 120 against Pittsburgh. We also go through and there's, 14, 9, 9, 15, 17, 12, 13, and throw 33 in there, 40 in there. Like that's 37. Those there's a lot of games where he didn't do all that much. But then, I mean, you also look at it, and it's like, who's his worst game against? I guess Detroit, Dallas. Those are not good ones. You should be able to torch those teams even with Teddy. Cincinnati, Kansas City, Giants, Kansas City again, the Chargers. And there's some tough defenses in there. I don't know.
It's just concerning that he wasn't getting open a lot, and because of that, he wasn't getting the ball a lot. Now, almost no one was getting the ball a lot. And I'd like to point out, despite all of those gross numbers on the game log, he almost had 800 yards with 2 bad quarterbacks. And now you're getting a top 10 quarterback. Like I said, if nothing changed for him, if he wasn't an ounce healthier, if he didn't feel any better, he's still clearing 900.5 in my opinion. But it's usually the second year after coming back from an ACL that you actually get it back, which this will be for him.
Yep.
And the offense is going to be more pass happy, in my opinion. And the quarterback is so much better. Like, all of those things say Courtland Sutton should go over 1,000 yards this year and do it pretty easily.
It's almost like they look at 2019 as just a fluke.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because you do have the other like 700-ish yard seasons in there. But as a rookie, and then last year, I don't know. I feel like of all of the props we've talked about, the over on this or the over on Russell Wilson's passing yards are probably my favorite.
Yeah. This is low. This is very low.
It's very
all
low.
right. Now, here's where the real surprise starts to come in, and this will be the beginning of a theme that we're going to see, and obviously there's a reason why our headline is the way it is.
Yep.
They've got Jerry Jeudy at 905.5. So not significantly more, but more. They think Jerry Jeudy's going to have a better season than Courtland Sutton when it comes to receiving yards, and we'll see the others here in a second. But why do you think that is?
I think that it's easy to see how a quarterback could hold Jerry Jeudy back. I think that, anybody can throw the ball up to Courtland Sutton,
Yeah.
If Jerry Jeudy's just getting open every play and the quarterback is just refusing to throw him the football, it's really easy to see that on tape and say, well, Russell Wilson will just throw him the football there. And I think the other part of it is he should be getting more open, because what he was best at Alabama was getting open deep. Like he would run those post routes and just come wide open away from everybody. And again, like, it's different doing that in the NFL, but you still, when you're in an offense with Teddy Bridgewater, it just doesn't matter if you're a deep threat. It just doesn't matter. And so as soon as teams have to respect that, and he's already getting open underneath, like, he's just a receiver that, in a very spread out offense where you're really working to get receivers open instead of just saying like, well, here's a play action, we're going to chuck it deep. Jerry should be perfect for that. It's
really true. And I think the other part is, one thing you always have to keep in mind when it's the sports book, is Jerry Jeudy is still just a bigger name, high first round pick, Alabama product. People know his name. People want to bet on him. He's got a lot of fans out there. I think that matters in this scenario, just when it comes to DraftKings setting the numbers. I like the over on both. I really do. And Jose points out only 5 teams had 2 1,000 yards receiver last year in the first 17 game season. So it's not common necessarily. But when I talk about 1,000 yards, I'm talking about close to it. Like, if Jerry Jeudy gets 980 or something, I'm not saying like, oh, we were way off there. Like, that's one catch difference. So regardless, though, that's way more than 900. And I think you're going to definitely have two wide receivers clear 900 with ease. And the 2 most likely, I think, are these 2. So to me, I go over. And I think the worst case scenario, I mean, let's take injuries out. I'll touch wood. The worst case scenario is you go 1 for 2, in my opinion. I think in almost every scenario, one of these hits, as long as these guys are healthy.
Yeah, I totally agree. And again, like, I think Jerry's going to get over that number 2, but if you're picking one of these, you got to go with Courtland Sutton. Like, I feel like he's just a lock. As long as he's healthy, and we'll touch wood for that, how does he not get to 1,000 yards?
I don't know. And he's the biggest comp for DK Metcalf on the team. And obviously that, Russ loves to just give a guy a chance to go get a jump ball. And that is going to be Courtland. He's the best jump ball guy on the team by far. Tim is obviously big, but he's not as good at high pointing the football as Courtland is.
Totally. And also, I mean, this is a separate bet, but when you brought up, I had forgotten. I was looking through all these futures after the Avs won the Cup, and it would have been good to know this to guess these other lines. But Jerry has the 9th best odds to lead the NFL in receiving yards this year.
Wow.
Yeah. Again, like I do think that when you're in Denver and you follow the Broncos, you follow all these little narratives and you kind of get into a bubble that maybe other outsiders don't fall into, and it's easy to get a little bit lower on Jerry. I think it's easier. Bradley Chubb has the 12th best odds to be defensive player of the year, but you think about it from the Broncos perspective, it's like, oh, he's only there half the time, like all that stuff. But when he's been out there, he's been really good when he's healthy. And so I do think that maybe this is another one where, Broncos fans maybe can be a bit harsh, and maybe there's something that we can learn from the national perspective here. Or maybe we actually know what we're talking about and they're all idiots.
What's kind of depressing here is that the person next to Jerry Jeudy in receiving yards is a guy from his draft class, Justin Jefferson, another JJ.
Mm-hmm.
He said at 1350 and a half, over 400 yards more than Jerry. And obviously he's just a freak. But
yeah, he's earned that.
And
I take the under, though.
It wasn't just the Broncos who got that one wrong. It was the Raiders, the Broncos, and I believe the Eagles who took Jalen Reagor ahead of Justin Jefferson.
They did.
That's tough.
That is tough.
They're probably saying the same thing about us. All right, you want to go to TDs or receptions next?
Let's go TDs.
Okay, we're going to TDs.
These ones are tougher.
These ones are tougher, and I like the bet less when it comes to TDs just because you just never know. But regardless, it's still part of the conversation. What do you have Courtland Sutton TDs at this year? Did you say 8?
10 for Sutton.
Okay, you're going to like this one again.
I imagine.
What if I could tell you could essentially bet on him to get half of that at 5.5 touchdowns for Courtland Sutton? He's got to get to 6. But yeah, that's alarmingly low.
It is. It's another one of those. I mean, he's done 6 before, and he did 6 in his second season with terrible quarterbacks.
I know.
Honestly, maybe what we're learning here is that Russell Wilson is not as good as we think he is. At least the sportsbook doesn't seem to think so. Like what is the other explanation for not having a 10 touchdown receiver?
Right. They don't even think that the Broncos are getting close to having a 10 touchdown receiver.
No.
Which is, I mean, if Russ is going to get to even, what did they have it set at 31.5? Someone has to carry the lion's share of that, because if Cortland gets 5, and we'll talk about Jerry here in a second. Well, let's just do it.
6?
What do you have Jerry at?
That's probably too high now. Well, they like Jerry better. I have 6.
Okay, 6.5. So
okay.
If Cortland gets, let's just say they both hit the over. Cortland gets 6 and Jerry gets 7. That only gets you to 13.
You have 18 touchdowns.
Right? Who's getting the rest
Patrick's
of these?
got 10 maybe, and they just don't have a lineup.
I don't know. Let me look and make sure. It
Tight ends, running backs.
There's no, someone has to get 10 for him to get near that, and someone is getting 10. So you've got Cortland at 5.5, Jerry at 6.5. I much in this case prefer Courtland Sutton.
Yeah,
now
that's an easy one to me.
I've always said Jerry Jeudy should be an insane red zone weapon, because it is very difficult to get open down there, and he obviously has the shake to do it. So he should be, but let's not forget he had 0 last season. 0 touchdowns, which is alarming in its own right. But to go from 0 to 7 would be a huge boost, where especially with very little. What did he have the year before? 2, 3?
I think it was 2 or 3, yeah.
At least Courtland Sutton has a precedent of he's done this before.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're missing something with Jerry. But it's It's weird that these numbers are set up this way. Maybe we're missing something with Courtland Sutton. Maybe that's what's going on here. But it just feels like with the big year that he's had before, I mean, not big, but big for Broncos standards recently, like you should be able to build on that, especially with a quarterback that should fit your game a lot better. And who knows, maybe what we've been saying, Courtland Sutton on all those broken plays should be really good. Yep. Where, he's running the post route, but all of a sudden Russell Wilson rolls out. And you would think that a big body like that should be able to make a cut, get separation, and be a nice, easy target. Maybe they look at Jerry as somebody who would be better at that just because he is so quick and because he can get to different places and because that's kind of how they played at Alabama before. But I did not expect Jerry's numbers to be higher than Courtland Sutton's.
I didn't either, and that's why we made the headline what we did, because it's just so surprising. Our resident statistician, I'm trying to, when you're watching like a Rockies game and Drew Goodman's always like, oh, I've just been handed a note here with a stat from our guy. I'm trying to remember what that guy's name is.
I don't watch enough Rockies games. Actually, we were watching that Hustle movie where Wancho's the star, which is awesome.
Great.
Wancho,
I
a movie
enjoyed
star.
It.
Yeah, it was solid. Basketball players are not always great actors, is one note that I would have. Wancho did great.
Yes, I wasn't expecting so many players as themselves in the movie.
And it kind of makes it weird when a player isn't themselves.
Yes.
It's like, oh, look, Anthony Edwards. And it's like, oh, wait, actually, no, that's not. It's like, oh, look, Boban. And it's like, nope, that's not Boban.
But then it's like, oh, here's Luka, and that is Luka.
Exactly. And so that part of it can get a little bit tough to follow. But
wait, real quick. Okay. What was the point on Hustle?
The point was it ended right before the bottom of the 8th for the Rockies game last night. So we got to watch the Rockies flame out and lose that one right after, which was so fun. Because I don't have like cable at home. So I come up here and we have the Rockies games, and I'm happy I don't have cable this time of year.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. Okay.
It is tough.
So our resident statistician, Jose, coming in with some great tidbits here. First one, RK would be happy to know that in the 3 years of Metcalf and Lockett, Russ had Lockett over 1,000 yards each of the 3 years, and Metcalf over 900 every year, including one over 1,000. So out of 3 years, they had two 1,000-yard receivers once, and over 900 and one over 1,000 both years. So that if you just took these stats and passed them off to them, that would have hit every year. But I think it's important to notice they never had a number 3 option as good as Tim Patrick.
Yeah, and no number 4 like KJ. And who knows, maybe no tight ends.
Like Albert.
It's too early to say. I mean, with the ghost of Jimmy Graham up there, maybe he is better, but who's to say?
True. And so, yeah, you like that here. And I guess that is why. I've just figured it out. I figured out why they're higher on Jerry Jeudy. Because Jerry Jeudy is much closer to Tyler Lockett than Courtland Sutton. And so they're saying, okay, this was the style of receiver that Russ preferred in terms of just how often he went to there. And so we think, they're assuming that Russ uses Jerry in the Tyler Lockett role, which has produced more stats over the last few years. Makes sense.
Sort of. And then you also remember that DK Metcalf is averaging 1,060 yards a season in the NFL.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, is Courtland Sutton 1,600 yards or 160 yards worse per year than DK Metcalf is? Maybe that's what they're going with?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Couple more stats here from Jose. The least amount of CDs that Russ threw to his starting receivers in the past 3 years is 7. So all of these would have hit every year. And if you're swapping the stats, over Metcalf went 7, 10, 12. Lockett went 8, 10, 8. So there you go. It does. I think the Tim Patrick effect is. We're starting to understand. I think the thought process behind all this. The Tim Patrick effect is kind of draining some stats away from these guys.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that ball gets spread around. Yeah. I don't know. Because again, I still look at it and say, like, yeah, if you're ordering guys, you probably say Sutton the most, then Judy, then Patrick, then KJ, then those tight ends. But again, like, KJ has the potential to live up to the draft hype after 2 years, and then all of a sudden that could turn everything on its head. But yeah, I don't know. It's a weird order for these guys.
Absolutely. All right. Fun fact about me: after this, I'm heading over to a meeting with the people who host or who own the space that we do our tailgates in, and that
Ooh.
gave me a good reminder, and actually is making me crave some sexy pizza. I miss sexy pizza. Uh, Obviously, still get it a decent amount, but not nearly as much as when we were just having it brought to us every single Sunday at those tailgates. So might have to get some today. Hit up our friends over at Sexy Pizza. They're a true Colorado staple, and they have their philanthropies, which are awesome. They're specialty pies, where a portion of the proceeds of each one goes to different Colorado charities. So check out our friends over at Sexy Pizza. I highly recommend anything with green chilies on it. Like, I love that they're putting green chilies on pizza. They have like a green chili pepperoni, a green chili sausage, any of those. And I would do, maybe they do have this. I just haven't seen like a green chili and cream cheese.
Interesting. That one I am not quite so in love with. That seems like kind of a weird choice. But
wait until you have a slice of pizza with like a dollop of cream cheese on it. Your life will never be the same.
That just doesn't seem like the best cheese for the situation.
Henry, have you ever had peanut butter on a burger?
Yeah, I have. That's solid. That's solid.
Yes, it is. It's not as good as cream cheese on pizza.
There's just, I mean, you got mozzarella, you've got so many different cheeses that I would go to before that. But yeah, maybe we'll give it a try. Maybe.
Do it.
Also, Evoca TV. If you haven't been able to watch the Nuggets, the Avalanche, and the Rapids, you should get Evoca TV. They have Altitude Sports. They have AT&T Sportsnet. So if you like to watch the Rockies, you get to do that. Or if you're like trying to get outside more, I always feel like the Rockies have that effect on me. It's like you turn on the Rockies and it's like, yeah, maybe we'll just go for a walk or something. So if you've been trying to get outside more, Evoca TV can help you with that too. And also, there is a DNVR channel. So we are live on Evoca TV with our own channel. You can watch us just like you watch us on YouTube.
Ad right now.
Right
from
now.
Evoca.
You think anybody's watching?
Absolutely.
There's probably at least a few. They're like, oh, Evoca TV. That's this. That's always fun. Like when you watch like sometimes a DirecTV commercial, and you're like, I shouldn't have to watch this because I bought it.
Right. You already got me.
That should be a thing with commercials. They're like, if you can just show that you have the thing they're selling, you get to skip ahead.
Right. There's like a little camera on your TV and you just hold it up. You're like, I have an iPhone. Like, please.
Exactly. You're like, I have Hulu. I don't need to keep seeing ads for Hulu. Like, I don't know. We'll work on that later. But if you want to sign up for Evoca TV, which you should do, go to evoca.tv/DNVR. Use the promo code DNVR when you sign up. You'll get $10 off your first 3 months. That makes it only $15 per month for those first 3 months. Plus, you have to pay another $5 a month for a receiver. You can buy the receiver for $250, whatever. But there's no contracts, no hidden fees. Straight up, you just pay $20 a month for these first 3 months, and you get all of this awesome stuff, which is a steal because it would cost way more than that to get like MLB TV. Is it MLB TV?
Sounds
NBA
right. MLB extra innings.
Extra, yep. They used to be for sure. Is it still?
I'm
not sure. NBA, whatever
League
it
Pass.
is. League Pass. That is League Pass. But you could get all of those, or you could just pay $20 a month to watch the Nuggets, Avs, and Rockies.
Yep. There you go. Also, just a reminder, never a bad time to become a DNVR member. We actually dropped a story yesterday that's free, so you guys can go check it out. Just get to kind of a little taste of some of the things that we like to do. But it gets you behind the paywall for all of our written content. Really excited for some of the written stuff that Henry's going to bring to the Broncos beat. I think you have a great knack for telling stories, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, go check it out over on thednvr.com right now. You can see our roundtable. Henry and I both were in lockstep in terms of who's going to lead the Broncos in sacks next year. And Zach went full dark horse on us. So go in there, tell us if you agree or disagree. Of course, you can also leave your comments on the pod which we'll get to every day. You guys have been slacking a little bit. So those of you who say like, hey, I haven't commented in a while, I wanted to let the other people get in there. Well, now is your time to shine. There's an opening for you. Come in, ask us like some stupid question about Pop-Tarts or something, and you'll spark a whole week worth of debates. But all that stuff. And then also a reminder that we have another DNVR golf tournament coming up August 5th at City Park. This is poised to be our biggest one ever, our best one ever, our craziest one ever. It's going to be a party for sure. So come through to that and just keep an eye out for all of our events that we're doing over the rest of the summer. All right. We still have one more to get to on Courtland and Jerry, and then I want to talk about the other guys and where we think they fit in and just kind of start building our way to what we think Russell Wilson's stats will eventually look like. And the last one here is receptions, correct? Yes.
Uh-huh.
What do you have Courtland Sutton's receptions at?
I've got him at 80. I know that's not close, though. I bet they have him at like 61.5.
Wow, very close. You've got a good beat on what DraftKings is thinking of Courtland Sutton. 62.5.
That's what I was going to go with. I was like, no, they've got to have it lower. Damn it.
62.5 is where they have Courtland Sutton, regular season receptions. Look, if you believe in Courtland Sutton at all, you should go for the trifecta here.
Absolutely. I just wish there was a way to parlay it. And it makes sense that there isn't because they all are absolutely correlated.
You've heard of same game parlays. We need same season parlays.
Same season player parlays. Yeah. I mean, 58 last year. 5 more with Russell Wilson. Is that crazy to ask for?
This is probably the safest bet of all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would probably those yards are really tempting too. Probably catches before yards though. I think you're right.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be more plays, and a higher percentage of those plays are going to be passes. Just by simple math, the bump that he gets from that ends in him blowing that number away.
Yeah, I mean, then the only reason he wouldn't is if there's injuries, and we'll touch wood whenever we say that. But even if you missed 3 games. If he played 14 games this season, would you take the over on that number?
Yep.
Yeah, me too.
Yep. I mean, I'm with you on like 80-ish catches. So because of that, like that's coming down to, 5 games. And if you take away 3 games, he's still hitting this off of 80.
I just don't understand.
Yeah.
I want to see. So 80 catches would have been 22nd in the NFL last year.
Wow.
Feels pretty realistic.
It feels under. It's still way too low. I expect the Broncos to have 2 receivers in the top 20 this year.
Yeah. I'm just trying to look and see if there's 2 on the same team.
Kelsey and Hill.
Oh, yep. Kelsey and Hill were.
Wow.
111 and 92.
That is insane. 111. And that was like low. That was Kelsey?
Yeah. 92 for Kelsey, yeah.
Oh, he was at 92. Didn't he have like 120 one year or something?
I think he did. He's an old man now, though.
Yeah, he is. Okay, who else? Any other? I mean, Josh Allen doesn't really have, like, Stephon Diggs and who?
Cole Beasley.
Okay, wow. Okay, there's 2.
Yep.
Herbert, Keenan Allen, and someone.
Keenan Allen's at 106. Mike Williams at 76.
So he didn't make it in.
Still easily hits the over, though.
Yes, it sure does. What about Russ?
Let's see. Oh boy, those were not big numbers last year. It's looking like
they dealt with. I guess he had. Oh right, he had injury. They had injury. So that makes sense.
DK had 75. Tyler Lockett had 73. Lockett played 16 games. Metcalf played all 17.
There you go.
Still both over.
Still both over. All right. Based on the information that you've been provided, what do you think they have Jerry Jeudy at?
Well, let's see. So it's 62.5 for Sutton. We know there's more yards barely for Judy, like 1 catch more, but we also think that Sutton's probably making more big plays. So maybe 66.5.
72.5.
Wow. So they really think they're using him underneath.
Yep, they do. And I think they're probably right about that. I think that Jerry Jeudy is going to have a lot of catches on inside slants on 3rd and 4.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if anybody could catch balls on 3rd and 4, it'd be incredible.
Yeah, sure
But
would.
that sounds like it could be a really good time.
Yep. I think they're also going to use him in like some RPO bubble actions.
Yep.
Obviously the little jet sweep pop passes. They'll actually let those go this year.
Yeah.
And then, one thing that we haven't talked about a lot with Jerry, while he's great at the quick twitch types of routes, he also runs the best over route on the team, in my opinion. And that is going to be a big staple when you think about, you'll line him up left. You'll do a big play action fake out to the outside zone right. Russ will take 5 steps back, and then Jerry Jeudy will have come all the way across the field, and Russ is going to throw a seed to him. So, is that are you getting fired up over there thinking about that?
I'm getting really fired up. I just want football season to be here. Like, I just want to see all these guys out on the field. Like, it's so easy to be excited about, like, every receiver, every one of them, and the tight ends and all that. Just start throwing that ball around.
And just the offense. Like, I'm so excited to just see deep shots like 3, 4, 5 times a game, maybe. It's funny. You wait all week to watch your favorite team play, and you're just like hoping for these guys to go out and make dope plays. And so many times over the last 6 years, you get excited to go watch Courtland Sutton play, and he has 1 catch for 14 yards, and you're just like, what is happening? Or you're excited to see what Jerry Jeudy's going out there to do. He has 0 catches. That's not going to happen this year. Everyone's going to eat every week, essentially.
Touch wood when you say that. Like, let's not, after what we've been through, let's not put anything up to chance. Just, it's got to work. How would it not? Nathaniel Hackett's a really smart guy. Russell Wilson's a really good quarterback. It has to work.
It does have to work, exactly. Okay, for those of you who are just chiming in and criticizing our headline, the reason is because the Sportsbook, DraftKings Sportsbook, our presenting Sportsbook, and usually they're in lockstep with all the other ones on most things. Sportsbooks are projecting Jerry Jeudy to have a better year than Courtland Sutton. So they've got Jerry Jeudy at 70, we'll just say without the half, 72 receptions for 905 yards and 7 touchdowns. And that seems like it could be around where he is, actually. The surprising part is just how low they are on Courtland Sutton. They have Courtland Sutton at 60. Let me just get back to his receptions. 62 catches for 900 yards and 6 touchdowns. And that just feels so criminally low. And I would just say this. If that's what he comes out with, and we're assuming he plays 17 games here, I'm touching wood. If that's what he comes out with, it will be considered a major, major, major disappointment.
Yeah. I mean, if that happens, it feels like there's probably other things that went wrong. Like Russell Wilson probably isn't throwing for 4,000 yards in that scenario. He's probably looking at like 3,300 with 23 touchdowns. And I think there's probably more blame to pass around. It just, the odds that Courtland Sutton is the reason that Courtland Sutton doesn't hit these overs seems so slim.
It really does, man. And so I guess, this isn't all about betting, but from a betting perspective, I would hit all 3 overs. Honestly, I would hit all 3 overs and just ride that out. And, you cross your fingers that he's healthy. I'll touch wood again. But you watch this season and things just go normally, he hits those easy. If he has a good season, he blows them out of the water.
Absolutely. Again, it takes something crazy. Like, does KJ Hamler just go off? Like, does Albert O pick up 800 yards? Like, you just need something weird needs to happen for all of that to work. Maybe the Broncos just can't be stopped. Maybe they go Titans with Derrick Henry and just hand the ball off 550 times.
Yeah, no, it's not happening. like all of these scenarios, and quickly, I want to tell you guys, we've got some extra time for comments today. So if you guys in the YouTube chat
Mhm.
want to lay down any comments, any questions, I should say, for us, we will answer those just in a minute here in the third segment. But there's only so many players are going to be on the field at a time, and so like KJ Hamler is just not robbing a bunch of catches and yards and stuff away from Courtland Sutton because he's just not going to be on the field enough. And I'm talking
Yeah.
about a healthy KJ Hamler. Like they're not going 4 wide that often.
No.
And they're probably not even going 3 wide all that often. I think it'll be a staple of the offense, but it won't. I don't even think that'll be the number one um, lineup. And if it were, KJ Hamler would only be in there in specific roles. You know, who are you
Yeah.
taking off the field to put him in there?
It just, I mean, this rotate receivers though. Like it feels like, and maybe things will change now, but like Courtland Sutton catches a ball, it feels like half the time he's coming off the field, you know, and then somebody goes in. Like I think that if KJ's the guy who rotates in for all of them, and on top of that, I think so. What 6 teams had 3 receivers on the field more than Seattle did last year.
Mm-hmm.
So about 2/3 of the time they had 3 receivers on the field. I think I can't find it, but I'm pretty sure they had the most 4 wide receiver sets, or maybe it was the Packers, one of the two that's tied to the Broncos. So we'll see. But I do think, I mean, I don't know.
I guess maybe I'm thinking too much under center stuff. I just expect a lot of under center, 2 tight ends sort of stuff, just because it's that's such a important formation in this offense.
Yeah. Oh,
That being said, I don't know if I love the idea of putting Eric Saubert on the field to take off Jerry Jeudy
exactly.
or Tim Patrick.
Last year, Courtland Sutton was on the field for 85% of the snaps. Tim Patrick was out there for 78%. So all of a sudden, if that's 15 and 12, like there's 27 that can be spread around. Then you get into Jerry, and some of the goes go tight ends. But I think 4 receivers, like obviously your number 4 receivers looking at 500 yards, but there is still quite a bit to go around.
Yeah.
We'll see.
And Dulcich is kind of a dark horse here. He did where I worry for him is that he didn't really pop up for anyone at OTAs and minicamp. And I always say this. I always say this whenever they take a tight end early. Is just tight end might be the hardest position to come in and learn in the NFL.
You need grown man strength.
Yes, you have to become an NFL offensive lineman and an NFL wide receiver.
Yeah, and the wide receiver stuff, like that takes some time, especially when you're focused on the other parts. But getting to the point where you're blocking 9 techs, like at what point are you happy to have Greg Dulcich out there blocking Von Miller?
Never.
Because when you play the Bills, there's a good chance that they're going to be putting Vaughn on that side. And so, who knows? You probably double team him.
You're chipping,
but
yeah.
It's still, you're asking for trouble. And in the run game, you're still probably double teaming him, I guess. But
yeah, maybe I underestimated the 3 receiver sets a little bit. That's probably going to be the number one thing that they do. But even in that, KJ Hamler's not on the field in most cases.
Yeah. But again, I mean, in a regular game, if Courtland Sutton is playing his best, he's out there for like 90% of the time. So you still have at least that 10% for each of them. It turns out to 30%, which turns out to like 25% that KJ Hamler is out there of the total game.
Yeah, and probably what happens in that scenario is like Courtland goes off. Like if Courtland goes off, then Tim fills in there, and Jerry fills in for Tim, and then KJ can come in and be in the slot. But I think I'm much more inclined to believe that KJ has a package, and when he goes in, they're running the KJ package. Because I don't think you can count on him to be a part of your offense. So you have a separate piece that you're like, okay, if we have him, we use this. If we don't have him, we don't.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a waste not to try him on some jet sweeps and stuff. But what you want him to do is just run straight downfield. If he just runs straight downfield, either he's getting past somebody or he's opening up a whole lot of space for whoever's behind him.
Tracy's baby says Montreal Washington ends up starting along with Hamler. Hot take. I would bet everything that I own against that. Unless you're talking about starting at punt returner.
Yeah, that seems unlikely.
Yeah.
Even getting a package from Montreal is going to be tough. That's just a returner at this point.
If he has more than 3 catches, it's a huge win.
I mean, that's. I bet he gets 5.
Okay.
I think 5 is probably what you're looking at.
5 offensive touches.
Oh, I mean, Kendall Hinton's getting out there though.
Kendall Hinton's much better at wide receiver than him.
I know, but I mean, if you're talking about like your number 5, I guess probably number 6 receiver, at some point he's getting out there. At some point he's getting out there.
Let's see. Deontay Spencer stats last year.
That's actually kind of perfect.
Deontay Spencer stats. Come on. We're getting close. In 2021, he had... I don't want his returns. I want his offense. He had...
1 catch for -3 yards.
I'm kidding. Where do you see that? Oh, yeah. 1 catch for -3 yards.
Yeah, that's not great. Seth Williams had 1 for 34.
Before that, he had 3 for 26 the year before. And then let's see rushing. He also had 1. No, sorry. He only touched the ball 1 time. It was 1-3. Didn't even get a reverse. But we know that Pat Shurmur just liked to fake reverses. He didn't want to actually.
That is true. I wonder. Too bad nobody's counting fake reverses
or fake jet sweeps. Okay, so yeah, that kind of fits my point there. It's just there's just not room for him to be involved in the offense, and maybe he's in a couple more times. I know. I think Zach came back one day saying like Montreal and Russ have like a little bit of chemistry. So if that's the case, forget everything you know. Like if Russ wants him out there, he'll be out there.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting. I mean, like, is Jerry better in the slot? I'm gonna get that Pro Football Focus at some point so I can look at the numbers. But I still think you want Jerry outside, and maybe I'm crazy thinking that, but that does open up. Like, everybody's moving around. They're gonna play him all sorts of different places.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Again, leave your comments on YouTube for us to answer here in the third segment. Got a little opening here. So we'd love to answer some questions for you guys. But first, I want to tell you about our friends over at FOCO, who have made some awesome merchandise to commemorate the Avs Stanley Cup. By the way, I just got this new Avs shirt. It's not from FOCO, but I think it's sick. It has
It's a good one.
The skyline on there. Allie actually got it for me, so thanks, Allie. FOCO has shirts, hats, and what they specialize in is collectibles. They've got a Stanley Cup bobblehead for most of the players on the team. You got I love bobbleheads. There's something about bobbleheads that's just like they're the perfect way to like commemorate something because they're weird enough. Like they rarely actually look like the person, and you just like have it forever, and you're like, yep, this brings me nostalgia. So check out our friends over at FOCO. Use the code DNVR when you go to their website, foco.com, and you're going to get 10% off your order.
Also, our next partner has a product that I use literally every day. I started taking Athletic Greens. It's been over a year now, right?
I don't think quite that long.
Really?
It would have been the winter, I think, like December or January.
Okay. Well, it feels like it's been forever just because it's a part of the routine. It's basically this powder. You like scoop the powder out, you put it in the shaker, you shake it with the water, and then you drink it.
Thank you for the demonstration.
You're welcome. And then you feel better. It helps with gut health. It helps with energy. It helps your immune system. It makes you not have to take vitamins and pills and all that sort of stuff. I mean, that's because there's 75 high quality vitamins in it. There's minerals. There's whole food source superfoods, probiotics, adaptogens, basically everything that you could want. Again, like for me, I wake up, I drink it, I go to the gym, then go get a coffee after, and then my day starts. It's like the perfect little boost to get you through the morning, especially before you do something like go to the gym, which here in Montana I have not been doing. And But that's a different story. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/ Broncos. I've only said Buffs before.
Yep.
I didn't even read the thing. Yeah, I was like, oh no, I have to actually look at this. Yeah, athleticgreens.com/ Broncos. Buffs, I always spell it out. Broncos. People here know that. Again, athleticgreens.com/ Broncos to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
I like the one thing that they don't advertise, I think, because it's just like, it's not provable, but like, you just look better if you drink your Athletic Greens every day. Like, you look like your skin just looks better. Your eyes shine brighter. I'm telling you, this is a real thing.
Interesting. I'm going to keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. Yeah, you could just, I feel like you can just look at someone and be like, haven't had their Athletic Greens today. It's obvious.
Not shiny yet.
Okay. Final segment here. Again, bring some questions in, or otherwise we're just going to end this pod early, and that's going to be your guys' fault. First one that I see here is from Tim Wenz, who says, what are the odds Hackett calls a fake jet sweep to Judy on the first play of the year?
That'd be incredible. I mean, how do you not do it, right? Like, the tough part is, like, you need the knowledge of how much people here hate that, which I think Nathaniel Hackett has picked up on. Like, he's young enough that he's probably in tune. He's probably heard about the fake jet sweeps with Jerry Jeudy. And if not, he's obviously seen them. Like, he's gone back and looked at the tape from last year, and he's probably giggled every time he sees Jerry Jeudy run back there and not get the ball again.
Mm-hmm.
So at the very least, he knows it was happening. Does he know how hilarious it would be if he actually called it on the first play? That's the big question.
I mean, he's a comedian, so I feel like he understands comedy. I think what's more likely is he would actually give it to him, not fake it.
Yeah, probably.
And that's still just as funny, but probably more effective.
Anything with Jerry in motion will be awesome. Oh, Samuel Bisu says he has a comment on the website. Different than yesterday's?
Left the website trying to get Deontay Spencer's stats. All right. I'll get to it in a second.
Okay. Also had Tim Wenz here talking about cream cheese. I love cream cheese. I couldn't fit this into my mouth the whole thing before the show started, though, so we're saving it for after.
Oh, man, I would kill for some cream cheese on a pizza right now. Oh, look at Allie going big time here. All right, here's a question from Samuel B. Sue, who says, RK, I have a bet for you. Last year, the RBs had 863 yards. I will bet you the over on 1,900 yards. This is not counting Russ, so I think this is a fair bet. If you win, I'll pay for 5 annual memberships for people who can't afford them. That's very nice of you. If I win, you give out the same 5 memberships. Either way, the community wins. Do you take the bet? Yeah, of course. Of course I take the bet. I think they're, what was it, 863? I think they're almost right there. I would probably take the under on 1,863, but I think it's like 1,850.
Yeah, I'd probably take the over. I'd take the over. I would definitely take the over.
Yeah, I mean, you're kind of on the more plays kick.
Yeah.
More plays, more yards. I'm on the more plays, more passes. I think all of that, the added plays, get replaced by passes.
Yeah. The one thing that scares me is Russell Wilson eating carries. Like, is he running so much that they look at that and say, like, yeah, that's a part of our running game. Like, they're running read options, and he's pulling those read options. Those are the run plays where you're just not getting as much. But, like, I think the Broncos were, like, 12th last year in rushing yards. I feel like that's going to move up.
Yeah, and I think it moves down. It'll be interesting to see just exactly how. I got to be honest, there's a big transition from the style of running that they were doing last year to the style of running this year, and I worry a little bit about how the backs. I know Melvin will be okay. I worry a little bit about Javonte, and I worry about the offensive linemen adjusting to that. So, they're really committed. Like, they're not saying, like, we're doing a little bit of both. They're saying, like, we are a zone running team.
Yeah.
And they're really committed to it. It's pretty much all they've talked about when it comes to running the ball is just getting this team ready to be a zone running team. So I worry about that. Obviously, to me, I'm if you grew up being a Broncos fan, you're a fan of zone run. Like you think it's the better way of running. So I obviously think it's the better way of running. But it'll be interesting to see if they actually just succeed right off the bat running the ball in that scheme. What I think is very true here is when they don't have success running the ball, it's going to be so easy to just be like, okay, well, we'll just throw the ball every play. We have Russell Wilson.
That's true. I just hope that he's that good. Yeah, and we know he's good, but like, is he top 3? Is top 5? Is he top 10? Like, those are the questions that he has to answer. And if he's top 5, then yeah, it's like easy. Just go out there, chuck the ball around. You're going to be fine. If he winds up at the end of the year, we're saying like, yeah, he's probably like the 8th best quarterback. That's where it starts to get just a little bit nerve-wracking to say, yeah, just throw the ball every play.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't want them to do that, but I think it's really easy as a play caller to just be like, hey, we can't run the ball. I'm sick of 2nd and 9.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? I think he doesn't poach rushing yards. I think he poaches rushing touchdowns. With just like 2 or 3 zone reads that he keeps. It's one of my favorite things to do is you've been handing off that inside zone all day from the shotgun. And then, 4th quarter, 1 yard line, 2nd and goal. He just keeps one and just walks in easy.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, also just the play calling down there. Like when before you're saying, like, we think we have a 60% chance of getting this ball in the end zone if we call this pass play. Well, that goes up to like 70% because there's the chance that Russell Wilson just gets free and runs it in. So when those percentages change, it changes whether you're passing or running. So I don't know. We'll see, but that's not great for the touchdown stats for the running backs.
And we'll talk about those tomorrow. All right, Michael Kerr says, do you guys think that letting Russ cook with more than he's used to having on field will expand his game, or will he have the same game plan with Lockett and Metcalf? Pookie will be our Marshawn. I'm confused by the question. Do you understand it?
I think by cook that means just like go out and do things his own, or are they going to let him just like chuck the ball around, or are they going to run plays and do those sorts of things?
Interesting. I mean, but then he brings in Lockett and Metcalf. I don't understand how that applies here. I don't know. And no shade. I'm just a little confused. I fully believe, I'll say this, that they're going to let Russ cook. Like, he's going to be in charge of the offense. And he's going to want to throw the ball, and they're going to let him throw the ball. And there's obviously going to be a little bit of structure with the way that they want to do things. But in the end, he's going to have full autonomy at the line, and he's going to play his brand of football the way that he's always wanted to play. I think that's absolutely how the Broncos got him to sign off in the first place. Was Nathaniel Hackett. He's obviously like a great people person. Was just like, dude, we're going to play football the Russell Wilson way. And that just got, like, can't you hear him saying that? And that just got Russ fired up.
Yeah. I mean, I still look at it as if like every play is 2 plays now. It's like the first one is what Nathaniel Hackett draws up. Then the second one is when you roll out of the pocket and everybody just goes and gets open. And so I do think that there's a bit of a blend, with the difference being you just hope that there's more open on time than there has been in the past. There absolutely should be, with better play designs and play calling.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I'm so excited to see this stuff play out, especially because I think however it plays out, it's going to result in good offense. And that's exciting. Tim says, where are we grabbing beers in 2 weeks? I don't know. We'll have to figure that out.
We will. Without the bar, it's tough.
Wade says 6 shirt RK. Thank you very much. And I think that is where we're going to wrap here. I got to call out our OG commenters. Like, where are the Ryan Claymans of the world, the Gunners of the world, the Count, like all of these people? Where are you at? We need comments to read. And so I'm sending out the bat signal to the OGs to come bring us comments before we start having to plan a different way to do our third segment. So with that being said, that's going to wrap it up for us today on the DNVR Broncos podcast. One more tomorrow on Friday. And then I can't remember if Zach gets back Monday or Tuesday, but we miss him. We appreciate all you guys for tuning in, and we will catch you tomorrow on the DNVR.